Buddy. I'm Danielle LaFontaine. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Singular Payments, and we wanted to get all of you dentists together to learn something important about the EHR Medicaid Incentive Program, which we actually just recently learned about from Mandy and her business partner Tony, is that dentists can qualify to get back $21,250 just by doing electronic health records. And we wanted to share this information with our customers because we know it's a huge benefit and huge value. And Tony and Mandy's team, this is what they do. They help you guys figure out how the process works and how you qualify and all that good stuff. So they're going to run you through everything you need to know to get paid. So Mandy, take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Mandy Kurz. I'm the CEO of EHR Payment, and I'd like to thank everyone at Singular Payments for the opportunity to educate your clients regarding the Medicaid EHR Incentives Program. Now, my hope is that everyone listening will learn new information, answer some questions you may have, and make you aware of some things you may not have known about. All righty, next. There we go. Go one more round. And let's go to the, there we go, the incentives program. Okay, so what is the EHR Incentive? And it came from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act that took place just shortly after the painful bank crash in 2008. So most people remember this as the Cash for Clunkers Act, but it also included the HITECH Act, which is where the Medicaid and Medicare EHR Incentives Program came from. And next. All righty. Now, why is the government giving away money? First, to meet the goals of having full access to an electronic health record to improve patient care, promote patient engagement, and ultimately produce better patient outcomes. So, regarding meeting the goals of having full access to an electronic health record, the thinking here was that if any individual has access to their own health record, then naturally they would be more inclined to engage or get involved in their well-being. And ultimately, this would produce a greater patient outcome. So, the second thing, to save Medicaid and Medicare administrative costs by reducing fraud and detecting it faster. Even with the cost of the EHR program, it began paying for itself the first year it was launched. With regard to that, the administrative costs and fraud, historically, you would fill out the paperwork for a claim, then mail it into the Medicaid office. Someone at the Medicaid office enters it into their system, also known as double submission, then it gets processed. Now, electronic submission saves time, saves money, and reduces fraud by detecting it faster. So the shift from paper to electronic is saving federal and state governments billions of dollars every year. Next. All righty. So, from Presidents Bush to Obama, what many of you may not know is that the Medicaid EHR Incentives Program actually began as an initiative President George W. Bush promoted. Not long after the invasion of Iraq, President Bush began promoting the idea of an electronic medical record, or what is more commonly referred to today as a health record. So this was in response to injured soldiers on the battlefield that were unable to speak or maybe unconscious, and they needed the benefit of having an EHR to treat them and possibly save their lives. In a speech given in April of 2004, President Bush declared the need for an electronic health record to make health care safer and more efficient. The push to advance this initiative remained in place with President Obama as well. Next. Now, where is the money coming from? The money comes from the federal government. These are federal funds that are mandated through each state. Each state administers their own incentive payment program, and they each have their own state-specific guidelines. That said, no two states are the same, which is where having an experienced EHR payment expert will help you navigate successfully through federal and state-specific guidelines. So, first, do they qualify? Do you qualify? And this will be in the next slide, yeah. Are you a Medicaid provider in good standing? Are you non-hospital based? And in any 90-day period in the prior 12 months, did you treat 3 out of 10 or 30% that were billed to Medicaid or your state Medicaid program? If you answered yes to these 3 questions, congratulations. You qualify to receive the Medicaid EHR stimulus funds. Next. There we go. Okay, so how do I receive the money? We have people ask us this every day. Is it a check? Is it a deposit? The answer is the practice receives the funds through EFT, or electronic funds transfer, much in the same way you would receive a Medicaid reimbursement directly into your business banking account. So the next question you may be asking is, how long does it take to get the money? Our clients are paid within 30 days on average from start to finish. And we are beginning to see some delays in the process because the state departments are getting a lot of submissions in. So you want to definitely get in before the log jam at the end of the year. And next. Does this obligate me to anything? The answer is absolutely no. Each year, Medicaid providers participate is strictly voluntary. You are not obligated to participate in subsequent years. Another common myth, you will not face reductions in reimbursement, which means you can apply for the year 1 funds that pay $21,250 per provider and never participate again should you choose not to. It's completely legal and it's entirely voluntary. So don't listen to anyone that says you have to participate, you have to buy this, you're obligated to enroll, you have to keep going. Again, each year is voluntary. Next. Do I have to buy expensive software? Actually, you don't, and we take you through this. First, we look it up to check to see if your current software is ONC certified. ONC stands for the Office of National Coordinator, and they act as the technological brains behind the EHR program. 2, we advocate for you with your current vendor if needed. Call Tony or myself first. Your software vendor is in business to sell software. If you call them with a 1,000% certainty, they will not miss the opportunity to sell you software because they're in the business to sell software. So what we like to do at EHR Payment is utilize what our clients are already using. So what you've already invested in without incurring additional and unnecessary expenses. This is where the argument from the last slide comes in. Are you obligated? Do you have to continue? Your software vendor will tell you, yes, you are obligated. Yes, you do have to buy this, and of course none of this is true. So if we determine you're using non-certified software, don't fret. We have a low-cost, minimum obligation, bridge solution already in place. Furthermore, you do not have to change your current software for year 1. You only need to prove that you purchased or secured access to it. And here you can see some examples of non-certified software. And again, call us first to get the straight answers. So, next. And how much will my practice receive? The year 1 payout is $21,250 per eligible provider. So for instance, a practice that has 3 providers could receive a total of $63,750 if all 3 enrolled. This also brings up the next subject of, hey, I'm the owner, but my other 2 dentists are independent contractors. One is part-time and one is full-time. Do they qualify? The answer is yes, they qualify. The CMS states all Medicaid credentialed eligible providers may participate even if they're contract, part-time, full-time, and even temporary. Everyone qualifies if they are Medicaid credentialed provider. And next. All righty. So the sweet spot. Get in before the end of 2016 and get your $21,250. Next. Don't go it alone. All right, so how much time will it take and what reports do you run? All of these questions are answered here. So this is absolutely where having an EHR payment expert comes in handy. How long will it take my staff? It won't take your staff very long at all. We handle all of the heavy lifting for you. Basically, your staff will be responsible for filling out a basic spreadsheet that has your group MPI, tax ID, legal business name, that sort of thing. Then we will arrange a time at your convenience to pull the patient volume reports, so not too much time or burden on your staff. What about the PHI in the report? Not to worry. We are HIPAA compliant. We're actually a security certified. We operate in a HIPAA secure environment. We sign a HIPAA business associate agreement with you prior to any exchange, and we send you an invite to our HIPAA secure Dropbox storage. So, depending on what state you live in, some states require you keep all the PHI in the report for verification purposes, and other states don't want any PHI, just the Medicaid number, date of service, and rendering MPI. This is why you want the EHR payment experts to handle this for you. Next. And how do I run my reports? Oh, tight guys, my screen timed out on me. Okay, we are going rogue over here. All right, how do I run my report? All right, this part is where, all right, we got to go back to the last slide. Sorry. Okay, how do I run the right report? There we go. We do all of this for you. First off, we guide you through this process, and it's different for every type of software. But generally speaking, it falls under a utilization report summarized by insurances, to be a little more specific. So, do you go by patient seen or total office visits? You calculate the patient volume by office visits. So if you have a child in a 90-day period that was treated in your office 3 times, you get credit for 3 office visits. They have to be on different service dates, so you can't have 2 on one day. Now the next slide. There we go. All right, so reasons to hire an EHR payment expert. First off, we guarantee our work in writing. We have obviously expert level knowledge. You work with us and you'll avoid audits. You're paid within 30 days of attestation on average. We operate with 100% transparency, 100% support, and this is 100% off of your practice manager's desk. And she doesn't want this job. So, all right, next. And here, you'll notice our team of experts. And we welcome you to visit ehrpayment.com for more valuable information and to learn more about us as individuals. We have an outstanding team, and I'm very proud to work with such amazing people. Very blessed in that way. All right, next. Okay. Good documentation equals no red flags, and no red flags equals no recoupment. So this is where EHR payment really excels, and here's why. The very reason we are in business today is because I got my start assisting a corporate attorney that got my name from a colleague. I was very well researched and worked in sales only for the program. After speaking with me, he asked me if I would handle his attestations. And my answer was, you know what, I think I will. So from that moment, I spent the next 4 months working without pay, researching the backside of this process, what it entails, and thank God for my husband. And during that preparation, working directly under the corporate attorney, I had to answer to every single detail, every form that was filled out, every patient volume report that was edited, every move we made, I had to explain it directly to him. In addition, because this was a large DSO that operated in about 6 different states, I had to also explain to him why the rules were one way in one state and a different way in a different state. And this is where state-specific knowledge of the guidelines is critical. I would later understand it was the finest training for this work I could have ever asked for. So while that was going, I was building my client base for more business. My new clients began receiving audit notices caused by a prior negligent EHR vendor. I jumped into action. So I was learning how to attest for clients, but I was also learning what caused audits and what could be done to avoid them. So soon I was working both sides of the fence equally. As time passed, I began to understand the value of what is known as payment integrity. Payment integrity means ensuring payments made to people on behalf of the government are managed correctly and that the appropriate checks exist to minimize the likelihood of errors. Because this was a concept I adhered to, about a year later, I began to describe the work I did to others, and I actually coined the phrase EHR Payment Integrity Process. It was a perfect description of how I operate and how I get my providers paid without creating an audit. And I'm pleased to announce I just received an email this morning from the U.S. Patent and Trade Office, and my phrase, EHR Payment Integrity Process, is now a federally registered service trademark. So the publication went out today, and I'm so pleased to also announce that if you haven't already figured it out, that we are 100% audit-free contractor. So yes, it's at our core of what we do alongside with my team members, and to that end, we actually guarantee our work against audit directly in our service agreements. So we don't just say we're audit-free, because we are. We actually put our money where our mouth is, and we are the only EHR vendor that does that. So, and next. All righty, so the fun stuff. We'd like to invite you to follow us on our forums. You can look Tony and myself up on LinkedIn, and just recently I began publishing articles on LinkedIn, so you can read more about the program there. Also, you can look us up in Dentaltown using the search term EHR Payment Expert, which is my username. So I post on a variety of topics with regard to the EHR Incentive Program, and the name of the post is Stump the EHR Experts. And pretty much it's an expose of the program, so lots of good information. Now, we'll go to next. Okay, so with the right help and advice, the EHR incentives are a win-win for everyone. So the time is now to invest in your practice. And just to clarify, the incentives are a grant, not a loan, so you're not required to pay the money back. And it does count as income just like normal, your normal Medicaid reimbursement does. It is intended for you to upgrade your practices, but it's not something Medicaid tracks. So what many of our dentists do is get the money, upgrade equipment in their office, and then write off the rest for tax purposes. Our consulting fee can be written off. And did I mention we're also one of the most affordable EHR vendors? So call or email us, especially if you're a singular payments client. Now, some of the purchases clients are making are tablets and iPads, digital x-rays, TVs, chairs, lab equipment, instrument sterilization systems, office redesigns, lasers, cameras, and they even use the money to pay off things that have already been financed. So get some of those items from your wish list there. So, and obviously the time is now and not later for the deadline. And next. And the way you start is with a free consultation with my associate, Tony Scott. And I'm going to let you take it away, girl.
Hi, okay, thank you, Mandy. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Yeah, I would love to get you guys started. One of the first things we can do is just help you see if you're qualified. And usually that's something we can do really easily over the phone with a couple of questions. So that's my information up there, and give me a call. You can text me at that number too. And we'd love to help you guys get started. And you'd be doing your friends a favor by passing that on too. Forward all this to any other office managers, any other dental associations you might be involved with. Most dentists don't know about this, which is kind of amazing, but they weren't, the EHR incentive program, they didn't give the states any money to really market this program. So you'll be quite popular if you pass this information on. But first, let's get you paid, and the sooner the better as far as when we talk, because you're going to need time to spend all that money so you can write it off correctly by the end of the year. And yeah, we'd love to open it up for questions. Yeah, I would love to. Nancy and I can take all your questions.
Mandy, do you want to go through the questions that we got earlier?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. What you got?
Well, I know a lot of times, yeah, I know I have one question.
Emails from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the questions, but one of the questions most people ask is about those part-timers. So I was just hoping that you could go through that again. So many dentists have to have an occasional part-timer to come in and fill in for them. And that's one of the first questions that I always get.
Absolutely. And also, questions.
Yeah, Mandy, I'll let you answer the question.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay. Well, the answer is easy. Yes.
You're right in your lane. You're just fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, and that's an important question because so many dentists and other practices haven't known about this, so often, even if you have a part-timer who works in another practice, they maybe haven't had the opportunity to apply, and you could apply for them. So that's even more of a payment for your practice, and it's one of the things we do as a service is help you get your associates on board, your part-timers, help getting everyone to voluntarily participate in the program. So we can help by talking with them over the phone. We could do a presentation. We can provide some paperwork that you could just put your logo on and get sign-off. And that's something we can talk in detail about. But our job is to maximize your payment, and that's one way we can do that is by digging in and making sure that we get your part-timers and those people included as well.
Gotcha. Another question that came in just now was, so what changes in 2017 for the program? Does the grant run out, or what's happening?
Actually, the way that works is we always say to everybody, get in before program end for 2016. But technically, it has to do with your patient data, right? So in the last 90 days of 2016, which is when you've got to have Medicaid visits in order to qualify, right, we can actually enroll you in 2017 using the 2016 data.
Okay. We got another question about if my office is just using paper records and we don't have any electronic records yet.
Mm-hmm.
Are we too far behind? I think what the question is.
Well, actually, that one is a painful one, and definitely, we can pretty much help anybody in any stage that they're in. And it's not been too often. It's been probably a few years now since I did that, as far as getting someone paid. But we can get you paid. So, yeah, there's ways to do that.
All right, great. Well, that was all the questions that we had. And we are going to send out a recording of today's event after, and definitely reach out to Tony and Mandy and get help getting your EHR payment before that money runs out. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.